Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be live or a VOD, Twitch or YouTube, or Spotify, while you are claiming to be the best player in whatever parameters that you need to make yourself the best, trying to make the western side of the Splatoon community a Rainmaker-only region, complaining about people posting their results during the tournament as if we need another thing to gatekeep people for in this community. Whatever it is that you're doing right now, appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this. Unless I don't. So I was on the Negus Corner podcast on Friday with Prochara and Spoon. The video for that is already out on Negus's YouTube channel, and I'm sure on Spotify as well, so make sure you want to check that out if you want to know more about, I believe the topic was growing the competitive scene. It's about an hour long. It's a good little chat. It's a good conversation for me to be a part of. Learn some things myself. Speaking of Spoon, Ink TV is back to some extent. They released a trailer and just said 2023. Full disclosure, I guess it's fair to announce this now, or not that it needs to be announced, but at least I could say this. I was approached by Ink TV a couple of weeks ago, and they offered me something that I couldn't say no to. So I will be a part of the Ink TV thing to some extent. And I'm not going to reveal what it is because I don't think it has been revealed what it is yet. But that's not a me leaving Low Ink or IPL or Proving Grounds or anything like that. I told them, I was like, look, IPL and Low Ink comes first with things like that. And they were like, don't worry, this isn't going to be an issue. So I'm happy to be on board. I'm not on board with like anything like technical or anything like that. I'm just there doing what I do best, talking. And for whatever reason, I got idiots that like to listen to me talk. News of tournaments may be of interest to the casual listener of the podcast. SAC is this upcoming weekend. Make sure you sign up for it if you are in +3 or below. Or if you are in +3 and you don't actually play in tournaments and you just upvote your friends over and over again, don't play in it because you might lose and then get kicked out of +3. It's a lot easier not to play in any tournaments and just upvote your friends over and over. But if you are a team that wants to play in SAC, is this upcoming weekend? It's just in one-off tournament. It's not a part of a season or anything like that. On the same day, Little Squid League is hosting their Invitational. If you are playing in it, you've probably already signed up. If you are not playing in it, you can't. It's an Invitational, dummy. You can watch it, though. It's going to be on Saturday. Splat a Little, I believe, is hosting their tournament on Sunday. That is a open invite tournament, so enjoy watching, playing in that. Anybody can play in it. I think my team is just going to focus on SAC instead of doing two team tournaments back to back. But hey, this Friday is Proving Grounds. If you are a North American team, it is going to be a time slot that works out for you. I'm sorry, Europe. I know you guys are hurting for some IPL love. That's not my department. I can't run everything. I just got to focus on the ones that work for my time slot. So, hey, doesn't mean there's nothing coming in the future from IPL for Europe related, but that's not my department. Proving Grounds. Now, here's what I hope, because I know the vast majority of the people that watch the podcast are Low Ink related. Makes sense. This is a Low Ink episode. Here's what I hope. I hope you guys sign up for the first Proving Grounds. I hope you get your ass beat so hard that you have so much that you are so unhappy and have so little fun in this tournament that you don't sign up for it again. I want this to be catered specifically to the feedback we got from high-level players of what they want out of a bi-weekly tournament. So I'll be straight up honest. We're not doing, if we do a format that's got the Swiss groups, this is going to be 4 rounds. There's not going to be any other bracket that's below. There's no beta, there's no gamma. If you don't make top cut, you get out of our tournament and you watch the stream. There's not going to be a lot that caters to you guys at all. And I'm telling you this right now, if I see a single low ink person go to the feedback channel, so be it. Don't worry. If you have a legitimate complaint, we'll look at it. But if you have I don't like this format, doesn't cater to me, I'm not going to give a crap. I'm going to be straight up honest. I love you guys, and I've said this so many times on the Popcast, low level is spoiled right now, and that's good. I'm part of the reason why, and we're going to continue to make low ink amazing and all the other low level stuff you got, but high level's allowed to have at least one thing that isn't built around feedback from low level players. I think that's fair. Sign up for Proving Grounds though, but you're going to get your butt kicked. At least that's my hope. If you don't get your butt kicked, you'll probably just end up getting banned from low ink. Somebody asked pineapple on pizza. Yes, my favorite pizza is sausage and pineapple. I think the sausage combined with the juiciness of the pineapple works out really well, especially with the sauce. I also don't think it's something like, if you like pineapple, it's just to hell with you. I mean, who cares? You don't have to eat pineapple on pizza, but so be it. It's something to get offended about. I don't know. I don't like this format because it doesn't give me a free win against Starburst. Well, I don't think there's any format in the world that's going to help you get a free win against Starburst, even if there's no way we could rig it to help you beat Starburst. Hey, Battle Girl Dimples, thanks for the subscription. Long live the Popcast. Yeah. I'll drink to that. Today, we are going to be recapping Low Ink. All 170 teams. Unless we don't talk about all 170 teams. I'll be honest. I looked through here, and even after verifying every team, watching the tournament go through, and looking back over it for this review, there's still a lot of teams that I'm just like, I don't know who these are. I have no idea who you are. So, it's a lot. It's a lot, but we're going to talk about some of the most notable teams that came through this tournament. All that and more. But first, let's get a few things out of the way right off the bat. I'm not going to sit here and have a debate with you guys about the format. I'm not going to do that. If you're wondering why we didn't do top 32 double limb, or just keep it top 16 double limb, or I guess somebody suggested we do 32 single limb, I will refer you back to episode 141 of the Popcast. Before the tournament even started, I already knew people were going to complain about the formats, and I covered your objections before the tournament even started, and everything I said on Friday before the tournament happened rings true to today after the tournament happened. So if you're wondering why we got to the decision to make the format that we did, I refer you back to episode 141 for that one. Quite honestly, this might come across as a little smug, but and some of you might not like to hear this, but it's the truth. The format we used just so happened to be the correct format for this. Here's some numbers that you got here. 170 teams. It was 191, but after some teams dropped beforehand and we kicked out, I think about 8 teams. And then about 16 others took an L at the end of registration because they didn't have a splash tag. I think we kicked out 8 teams, and then like another 16 or so didn't. Like, we kicked out certain players, but they had enough players left to where they could keep playing in the tournament unless they had the drop. I might have those numbers reversed, but still, we cut down from 191 to 170 when the tournament started. That's 800-ish players playing in this tournament. In the total matches, by my count, 635. 635 matches of Splatoon were played in Low Ink this past weekend. Oh, boy. The problem with Low Ink is this. It's too doggone big. It's too big. God did not create Splatoon for 170 teams to play in a tournament. That's the problem. Every issue that people had with this Low Ink came down to that. There's too many teams signing up for it. With the format that we had of Swiss, 6 rounds, not 7, just 6. Delta, Gamma, and then a top 32 that divided into Alpha and Beta. That was the correct format. This might come across as a little smug or something, but those of you who haven't realized that yet, eventually you will realize that. I realized it on Tuesday of last week. The rest of you will catch up eventually. And again, if you don't like the format and you have something that's better, all of the people who pinged me on Twitter, that DM'd me, that put in a suggestion in the suggestion channel that was clearly something you Googled out of nowhere, not a single one of them was a better solution that fits everybody. Don't even start with Waterfall. I'm not going to get into a rant about that. But there's not a single format that fit everybody better than the one that we did. I'm not sitting here saying I like it, because I don't. I don't like it. The people who had a gripe about single limb and alpha bracket, I understand your gripe totally. If you went into, I have to go back and look, but there were some teams that went undefeated heading into alpha bracket, took 1L. I think the team Drifting Tide beat was undefeated by the time they played them, and that was round 1. So yeah, there's some frustrating things with that. However, groups into single limb is the most basic esport format there is. Hell, the World Cup of Football, which is going to be played in Qatar later this year, is literally going to use a group into single limb format. You think Brazil is going to complain after losing in single limb and be like, oh, they should have done a waterfall format? I don't know. My point is this. If you left the tournament frustrated with how your result, if you did not get the placement you wanted in this tournament, and the first thing you thought of was, it's not me, it's the format. It's the format's fault. What meme do you want to go with? We could do the Principal Skinner, or it's like, oh, it's the children that are wrong, or the one where you got the stick and you put it in the bicycle's little axle or whatever, and you knock yourself out. Like, I think they both apply here. But if you want a more in-depth analysis, somebody mentioned ladder in chat. Ladder too. I even mentioned ladder in episode 141. Go back and watch that. I give you a deep dive explanation as to why we don't do any of those formats and why we got to the one that we did. With 170 teams and 635 matches, you are bound to get some oddities here and there. Some things you don't really see at all. First off, we did have a Clam Blitz game go in overtime and end in a tie. Yes, you can end a game in a tie. Now, I believe in Splatoon 2, it was 3 minutes. If nobody scored and you go 3 minutes without anyone scoring on top of that, it was the game just ended, and it was what people were saying is the first tiebreaker Nintendo does is who grabs the most clams, and then the second tiebreaker is just who's alpha and who's beta. Alpha will win that one. I heard some rumors that it might be 2 minutes. So they did post the clip, or they did post the game that went into overtime, and I haven't gone back and watched it yet. I'll do that probably on Thursday. We'll do a stream where we look through some of the matches on Low Ink like we did last month. But yeah, we had a game that just ended in a tie. There's no rule that says how you handle a game that ends in a tie. it's not supposed to happen, right? Like, even if you tie the score, the game will go out of its way to make sure who got to that score first is the team that's going to be in the lead. So it's a weird decision. I don't think there is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's a single tournament that has a rule stated, if there is a tie in a Clan Blitz game, here's how you proceed. Luckily for us, it was round 6. So what we said was, okay, play the other matches. And if you're tied at 1-1, then we'll make you go back and play that one. Well, doggone it, they tied 1-1 playing the other matches, so we made them go back and play the other one, which they did. But if that was like round 5, and like, we can't just hold up a set to make them play another 5 minutes on top of that, right? Like, it was already 8-minute match that was wasted time and didn't result in anything, and everybody else would be done by then. So, like, how do you rule that? If it was, okay, we need to stop this so that we move on, do you just flip a coin? I guess technically we could have ended it in a 1-1 tie if it was like round 5, but that would have really thrown off a lot of the math with the tiebreakers of opponent win percentages and stuff like that. So I don't know. I mean, it's such a rare thing that I knew could happen, but I've never seen it actually happen in a tournament. And I don't know of any other documented history of it happening in a tournament somewhere else either. So I don't know. I'm glad it was in round 6 and we got through it, but that would have been a rule that we just pulled out of our ass because there is no how to handle an overtime Clan Blitz rule. Speaking of tiebreakers, you remember that 1 month where we had a team that finished 8th in their group and a team that finished 9th in their group, and they were tied 100% across the board, record, opponent win percentage, and personal win percentage, which are the tiebreakers in that order. The 4th tiebreaker that Battlefy has that isn't posted is your opponent's win percentage, and we think that's kind of dumb. And it's also a number we can't see, so we can't see if, like, oh, it was their opponent's opponent win percentage was clearly better than the other one. So what we did that last time is we had the number 8 team and the number 9 team play each other at the beginning of Sunday in a best-of-1 Splat Zones Mako Mart do-or-die match. It was the Delicious Nuggets and somebody else, I forget. The team, oh gosh, I shouldn't forget that because that team that won that one went all the way to grand finals, I think, and finished in 2nd place. Maybe I am getting a little too old to do this, I don't know. That happened again. It happened again this time. Even with 4 different Swiss groups, we had a team finish in number 8 and a team finish in number 9 that were dead tied with each other. We were going to make them do a best-of-1 match on Monday. I was going to DM them. It wasn't Myopsitus. It definitely wasn't Myopsitus. However, here is something we came up with. And I said this on the Low Ink recap episode after that specific Low Ink, that if this situation were to happen again, here's how we would handle it. If those 2 teams had played against each other earlier, we were going to use that head-to-head tiebreaker to decide who was going to be the champion, or who's going to be the one that wins that. It just so happens these 2 teams this time around did play each other, and the one team that finished in the 8th spot beat the team that finished in the 9th spot. So we didn't have to change anything. And we could justify on our own merits that this team deserved to be in top 32 and that team didn't. It just so happened to work out, but it happened again. Totally tied after 6 rounds of Swiss. Very bizarre. Just the 2nd time ever it's happened in Low Ink history. Altogether, this tournament ran really smoothly. I could not have hoped for this tournament to run any smoother than what it actually did. I told you guys I didn't sleep on Thursday night. I was stressing about this for the past week building up to it and the entire weekend all the way through it. But Saturday and Sunday, the tournament actually running was as smooth as butter. It exceeded all my expectations for how smooth it actually ran during. And that credit goes to our amazing staff. We have a fantastic staff that we built up at Low Ink. We had so many people on site. Now, there's been times where JPEG and I have just run a Low Ink the day of by ourselves. Like, literally, it's just me and JPEG and VC. And we're experienced. We're really damn good at what we do. And we could kind of handle, like, a Low Ink like that. But with this many teams, it's like, okay, seriously, who's on hand? Let's get people in here. We had enough staff in the VC to where we could dedicate one person to each group. Bowen, you do nothing but Group A. Kraken, you do nothing but Group D. JPEG and I assigned ourselves just to help desk. We had people assigned just to watch Twitter, to watch Twitch and post clips on Twitter. And we had somebody who could just float around. Hey, I need extra help in my group. There's 2 match disputes. Can you grab this one? We had it very well organized and planned out how our plan of attack is going to be. The important thing here for you people paying attention, no, we don't actually have TOs watch Twitter. I meant Twitch. My bad. Hey, go see what people are saying about us on Twitter. The important thing here is, as you guys are getting into TOing and other TOs I know, you don't just say, somebody do this. I've been a part of lifeguarding groups in my actual job. And when you're teaching lifeguards how to handle emergency situation, they don't just sit there and go, somebody call 911. No, you look at somebody, you point them out. Fred, you call 911 so that it's all on that one person to do it. You don't just be like, hey, can somebody get that match dispute? No, it's Kraken. This is your group. Can you get that match dispute? Boom. We all know who's going to get it before it even happens. There's no confusion. There's no talking over each other. It's all understood what your specific role is. And since we're so well organized on the staffing end, that translated it into making a very smooth low ink, at least from our side. So that was great. We have a really freaking good staff team, and I love those guys to death. Was it still stressful? Yeah. But you pick up on some things that make the next one easier. If we keep the same format that from last month to next month, I've already just going through this low ink, there was already some things like, oh, if we just do this one thing slightly different, that'll save us like 5 minutes there. You know, it's kind of like speed running, you know, it's like we could pick up a few frames if we change this kind of rule, or if we adjust how we do this, that'll make that a little bit faster here and there. And you pick up time and it makes it a little bit shorter, makes the quality of life of the tournament a little bit better. There's already some things that I just picked up just by watching it myself. So you learn what to expect with experience. So the next time we have close to 200 teams play in a tournament, it won't be so stressful leading up to it. We'll kind of know what to expect. Is this going to be the biggest low ink we ever have? I think so. I genuinely believe the numbers are going to go down. And I'm not saying the alpha bracket teams that were mad about the fact that they got knocked out in alpha bracket are like not going to sign up. Some of them might not. That's understandable. I'm thinking more so the teams that played in this tournament thinking that, oh, this is a low-level tournament. I'm a B rank. That means this is a tournament I can win, to get the reality check of, oh, I am not ready for competitive Splatoon. You know, do I want everybody to sign up and play in low ink? Yes. Do I want a lot of people to play in this tournament and get a sense for what competitive Splatoon is? Yes. But I also understand competitive anything is not for everybody. You know, I can't make a format that caters to B ranked players and also alpha ranked players. There's no such thing exists. So I think more of the new people, some of them will stick around, some of them will grind, and some of them will eventually become a team we talk about and celebrate them winning low ink like a year from now. But I think a lot of them are like, oh, this competitive Splatoon thing's not for me, but I like watching the stream, so I'll just watch that and not actually play it. That's my hope that we get from this. Would I like the numbers to get up? Yeah, now that I've gone through this weekend, I wouldn't mind it. I don't know about JPEG, but me personally, I wouldn't mind it. But I don't think we're going to get numbers like this again going forward. And before anybody tweets this out, I kind of saw this, but probably not. The idea of, well, they'll sign up for low ink, but they won't sign up for other stuff. I don't think you want most of our team signing up for other stuff. I'll be honest with you. I'm looking at Squid Junction this past weekend. 32 teams ran really well. It looks like they made some quality of life stuff. Really great matches as well. Like Squid Junction this past weekend was a fantastic tournament. You throw in 100 teams from low ink, and all of a sudden it becomes a crap tournament. You just get a bunch of knockouts, and it's longer tournament and a format nobody likes and everyone complains about, and it lasts longer, and it's absolutely miserable. More teams does not equal a better quality tournament in all instances. So some of those low ink teams need to stay in low ink. Let's be honest about that. That's not me trying to be greedy. The beta and alpha bracket teams, if you want to win low ink, you got to play in other tournaments. You need to get experience outside of it. If you just camp out in low ink, have fun being in top 32 complaining about the format, because that's all you're ever going to accomplish, I promise you. But if you're a team that didn't qualify for Sunday, or you barely got like 1 or 2 wins, yeah, you don't really want to see those teams playing in an open tournament. There's no benefit for anybody for that happening. What makes this tournament so enjoyable for me was grand finals. As much as I was just beating my head on the table seeing the horrible suggestions people were putting in the suggestion channel last night, I went back and rewatched grand finals, and I was like, oh, this is great. This is so great. That, like, grand finals to me just made the entire tournament. It was just so much fun to watch back and commentate live every time. It's always Magic. I got to go back and look. But every single time Magic's been involved in something. Magic was involved in the incident. He was involved in that first time that we had a Game 10 in a grand finals. The most you can have is a Game 10 at the time. Magic was involved in the Splat-A-Lot A thing. Magic was involved in the access denied match between Lois. And now Magic is involved in the almost reverse sweep, the Game 7 of this. Every time we have Magic on, it's always magical what happens. And I thought it was it. I didn't think it was going to happen this time. I saw Cherry Dolphins just beat the tar out of Ink Sync, and I was like, well, this is it. Your run's over. And I told, but in the break leading up to grand finals off camera, I told Magic was like, I think this is going to go the distance. And I was like, no, I think Cherry Dolphins is going to sweep this one. I think they're a little too much of a monster right now. And it looked like I was going to be right until Ink Sync realized, oh yeah, remember that strategy we did before when Gigas was using something to complement K instead of everybody just paint the map and let K cook? No, maybe we should help out. Maybe we shouldn't just let our Dapple players carry us on the Slayer in. And instead, they switched it up and they got back into the set and they made it incredibly exciting. I still think I could have just asked him this because I talked to him a little bit last night. I still think picking Splat Zone's Hagglefish was just like, screw it, we're down 3-0. Let's just have some fun. Let's pick the same map in game 1 that we lost on earlier. And yeah, every time after every single match after that, like 5 and 6 and 7, they were like, hey, you guys can't pick Splat Zone's Hagglefish, but we'll gentleman it for you if you want to go back there. Like, just poking the Dolphins every single time, being the little weirdos that they are. But it made the match so exciting watching those two teams battle back and forth with each other. I was legit. It might have come across in my voice a little bit, but Game 6, I was shaking. Like, I was literally shaking with excitement watching Game 6. And Game 7, that was a really exciting, like, that's a game commentators dream of. Having a Game 7 and the epic end of a tournament where it comes down to the overtime and you don't know who's going to win. It's still in doubt. Is Ink Sync going to break through? Is Jimmy's vacuum going to lead the way for them to pop the basket? They're getting wiped out. Is K going to make a miracle play and somehow keep this overtime going a little bit longer? Like, that's what you can only dream of a moment like that for a commentator. And the fact that we had over 600 people watching the event live, a low-level event getting those kinds of numbers. It's not the 1,000 we saw at 20XX. Low Ink doesn't need to be beating 20XX, okay? That's an issue. If we're getting 1,000 people, 20XX needs to be getting 2, which they're on pace. Everything's improving viewership-wise, which is awesome to see. But, man, that set was awesome. What makes this game fun in general, and what makes Low Ink so fun in general, is the fact that you don't see meta stuff that often. Yeah, you saw a lot of machines. You did see a lot of machines yesterday. But if you are somebody who's grinded a non-meta weapon for a long time, you start to figure out how to overcome the weaknesses of that weapon. People are always saying, well, if you want to beat Destiny troops, just use double missiles against Popgun's Hydra. You know how long I've been missiled? You think I haven't figured out a way to at least minimize the weaknesses of the Hydra to overcome it? It takes a long time. Dapples is not used hardly by anybody, but K has been maining the Dapples for so long that eventually you get the sense that they figure out, okay, yeah, I don't have a lot of range, but I know how to cancel an inkjet out of the air. I know how to shark in the right spots. I know when I can roll out of my shot and out of my sharking and get a double to shut down the Rainmaker. That's why everybody's talking about, is Dapples a great weapon? No, it's not. Dapples suck. In the right hands, though, it can be absolutely deadly. You need to grind the snot out of Dapples to get up to the level where K was, and not anybody can just do that. It takes a long time, but that is what you see in Low Ink. You see a lot of stubborn people who want to use their specific weapons that everybody else will tell you is dumb, but they've grinded that weapon to a point to where the weaknesses of it, they figured out how to overcome it. That's what made K's Dapples so fresh and unique, and that's what you typically see out of Low Ink. Same thing with the Cherry Dolphins. You do not see ballpoint used much at all over the past 2 years when it finally got nerfed, because it was crazy to have the mobility it did with Hydra range. But it got nerfed back down. But you saw a Cherry Dolphins player who I believe is just Dusty, but goes, we kept calling him sad face emoji person because that's the IGN they chose to use. You don't see ballpoint used a lot, but you saw ballpoint used by the Cherry Dolphins in such a unique way, realizing when you can push up, be aggressive with it, when you can fall back and be an anchor with it, when you can be that utility player. The ballpoint does so many different things when you're somebody who's really got a good handle on it. The Cherry Dolphins player, sad face smiley person, really figured it out, and that was refreshing to see as well. Those are two weapons you're not going to see very often outside of Low Ink played at that kind of level, and that's what makes Low Ink so special for a couple of people, and that was great to see in this grand final set as well. At the end of the day, though, the Dolphins just clutched up when they needed to, and it doesn't surprise me they won. I had them at number 3 on my top 10. Nito had them at number 2. And I think they beat the two teams. Did they beat my Oppositus? I know they beat Drifting Tide. They swept Drifting Tide. Those are the two teams I had in front of them. Really, just the difference was picking up Andu as a sub. I think we denied a couple of their players, so they needed to get a sub. And Andu, right there, coming off from the sub channel, fit in just perfectly with what they wanted to do. Fit in just perfectly with their system. Now, a machine's going to fit into any kind of system, obviously, but you could just tell they were working together really well, especially against Lappy Sweep. They were forcing Lappy Sweep to play a play style that they probably hadn't played up to that point. They opposed their will with their synergy on the other team and forced the other team to be discombobulated. That's the difference. Andu, one of the few people to come out of the sub channel and win a Low Ink, and just seemed to fit in perfectly with the Cherry Dolphins. Is this the match of the year? Magic was definitely preserving a moment when he said that. When Magic said this was the best Low Ink he's ever been a part of, and I'm like, dude, you've been a part of literally all the best moments of Low Ink. At some point, they got to start. You got to start ordering these things. Where does this one fit? I don't know. Is it in the top 3? Yes. Ink Sync versus Cherry Dolphins is in the top 3 for sure. Is it better than Myopsitus versus Lois? It could be. It had that same kind of dramatic moment, the weird counter pick. Remember when Access Denied pick Rainmaker against Lois and they won? Ink Sync pickings, the game won. They got stomped on and they went on that. That game 6 was an exciting back and forth. And it always comes down to Clam Blitz. And it always comes down to the final play. And the team making that final push just can't find a way to get to that basket. Access denied, got there just a few frames too late. Ink Sync just couldn't really break through the defense of the Cherry Dolphins. They're both just absolutely enjoyable sets to watch. I think they could be 1A and 1B. I don't know. We'll come down to whatever you guys vote at the end of the year when we do our Popcast end of the year awards. But that was just a fantastic set. And I can't believe we got that kind of set in a tournament like this with so many people watching, with so many people playing in it. That's, it almost sets you up for an expectation that next month's going to be even better. And it's going to be really hard to top this one. I don't know. However, I will say this. That match alone made the tournament so enjoyable for me. I hope it made the tournament enjoyable for you guys. And just an overall exciting weekend. Congratulations to Cherry Dolphins for winning this. We'll talk more about that later. Highlighted stuff in chat. Ninto7, we had to make it more interesting. Well, thank you. It worked out. I'm glad you found ways to make it more interesting. It probably made it too interesting for your own comfort, but hey, you get the win nonetheless. Hello, I was on that team that tied. Well, congratulations, Speedy Game. I'll probably look at that on my stream on Thursday and be like, why didn't they score there? Why did they score there? Ivy7 said, did it take you more than an hour for this script? We just have a bot that does that. We just have a bot that makes the script. So if there are any more highlighted messages above that, I can't scroll that high. Can I sub for old people next low ink? Okay, you guys, that is the dumbest team name for the players that you had on your team. You can't possibly think you guys are old. I'm not old either, okay? I'm a spring chicken compared to some. Not many in this community, but, still some. Well, yeah, sure. I wouldn't mind playing a low ink again. I'll just make a Smurf account real quick, and I'll get in there. They won't check me. They won't catch me. All right. We'll get to my winners in a second, and I got a boatload of winners. But now it is time for the weekly recap. SOS number 86 was won by a Good Morning. Good morning. Getting a win over Smoothie in grand finals, finished in second place. Narwhal Gaming finished in third. Hey, Good Morning went to a game 5 twice. I believe Sequoia took him to a game 5, and I think Narwhal Gaming took him to a game 5 as well before Smoothie took a couple of games up with him. Wasn't easy for a Good Morning. Good morning. But they still found a way to win the tournament like you would expect them to do. Hammerhead was won by the Wipeout Punks, who should be playing in SAC this upcoming tournament. You guys are always complaining when SAC isn't around. It's around now. Sign up for it if you haven't already. Mako Bracket was won by Koi, and Lantern Bracket was won by New Horizon. Lobster Crossfire took place on Friday night, late on Friday night, won by Sayonara. Crayfish, I believe a pickup from Japan, finished in second. In Tomioka, no way I pronounced that correctly. Tomioka is what I wrote down here. I need to just stick to a pronunciation, just roll with it. Finished in third place. So Lobster Crossfire used to be, you had to use the CDS or a VDS because they look like a lobster, I guess. But this time around, I was watching Sayonara's stream. I was like, hey, none of you are using a VDS. Aren't you guys cheating? But no, they were using the, you had to use the actual crab tank instead. Is a crab close enough to a lobster to where it's allowed in Lobster Crossfire? I guess so. But, interestingly enough there, whatever. Sayonara won that 24 team double elimination tournament that was on Friday night. Squid Junction number 31 was won by GTA 6. I'm assuming that's Grand Theft Auto number 6, who went 16-1 per games in this tournament. Toe finished in second place, and Tempest finished in third. Toe got revenge on Tempest, who knocked them down into the loser's bracket before Toe could get revenge on them in losers finals. The people that made up Grand Theft Auto number 6 are Isa Go, Goss, Thunder, Q, and Kataro. Hey, shoutouts to the staff for this one. They made some quality of life things, made the tournament a little bit quicker. They introduced a new strike ban system for their tournaments, which I think is different from the one we're going to be using for Proving Grounds, but I might look at how they actually did theirs, just for comparison's sake, to see what that's about. Hey, the top 3 teams were seeded correctly as well. GTA 6 was the number 1 seed, Toe second, and Tempest third. Nicely done. I mean, it's not exciting when things go according to seed, but it's still kind of like a secret pat on the back when you're a TO and you guess those things correctly, I guess. 32-team double elimination tournament, and nicely done. We stand Squid Junction around here. Notable results from Week 3 of the College Cephalopod Association. In Div 1, the University of Central Florida 4-0'd the UCSD Esports Gold Team. The Boilermaker Special, representing Purdue, went 4-0 over the University of Washington. Div 2, the Tiger Sharks from the Rochester Institute of Technology went 4-3 over the Squids of Cal, that is the University of California, Berkeley. Div 3, William & Mary went 4-3 over Arizona. In Cal State, Fulteron went 4-3 over Dakota State University. In Div 4, the University of Central Florida swept the University of Utah, swept the Utes. Virginia Commonwealth got a 4-0 win over DePaul University as well. In Div 5, Emerson got a 4-0 win over Monrovia. The matches you want to keep an eye on. Michigan State's playing Purdue. It's a Big Ten showdown here. You got San Diego taking on University of Louisiana Lafayette, and Texas Austin's going to be taking on William & Mary at some point as well. That information is coming directly from Mizuno, who I need to get onto the podcast. Let's see if we can do that next week, because there's a lot of cool stuff going on with College Platoon right now. In the NFL, the Steelers continue their historic season of sucking by going 10-12 in a 10-16 loss to the Dolphins. The Chiefs got a 44-23 butt whooping over the 49ers. Christian McCaffrey, obviously not worth all the draft picks they sent just yet. The Rams had a bye, which is always nice. They need to rest up. And that was your weekly recap. Sponsored by the formats you guys Googled and submitted into the suggestion channel. There were some formats you guys submitted that I'm pretty sure you just came up off, just pulled straight out of your butt. And they're crazy. So whatever formats you guys came up with, not to discredit them, I'll make them the official sponsor of this week's episode of the Weekly Recap, to be fair. How about that? I think that's fair. Will we be punished for smurfing while not banned? /J. I'm mostly just curious. As long as your IGNs match, just make it work. Oh wait, no, I already got that one. The pineapple and pizza format. That's, you know what? When I just get so fed up with flow, I can just say, F it. We're gonna do a pineapple and pizza format. Whoever, you guys just play each other, play whoever you want, and you just tell us who you think won the tournament, and we'll just post the results then. That'll work. Let's talk about the winners from this tournament. And I got a lot of them. Out of 170 teams, you would think a couple of these teams would have a pretty good tournament, even if they didn't win the whole kit and caboodle. Let's get through this. First off, shoutouts to Spectra, who went 5-1, getting some key wins over Sommerzite, Mystical Inc., Non-Binary Fuzz. I didn't know Fuzz had I didn't know fuzz was categorized as that, but so be it. From the Deep and Squid Sushi. You had a lot of teams playing low ink for the first time, and some of them would pop off. Spectro was one of those teams that popped off, going 5-1 in their Swiss stage. Nicely done. Yes, we just call them Sommerzeit around here. I was told that was appropriate to get through with that. The team that had the highest opponent win percentage, and this is crazy high, Alliance of the Dam. They went 4-2 in their Swiss stage, but their opponent win percentage was 74.9%. That's not a record. Port Raccoon had the record. It's like in the low 80s, which is an insane opponent win percentage, but 74.9 is pretty ridiculous. They got key wins over the Sweethearts, the Spanish Inquisition. They beat the Spanish Inquisition. KO Calamari and Old People. Hey, what's the thing about old people? They're not really good at video games, especially a video game that's designed for children, apparently. Alliance of the Dam, we'll talk more about them, but that's a heck of a run that they got. 4 wins out of a 74.9 opponent win percentage that is quite the accomplishment. Marine Melody would be my biggest winner of the weekend, going 4-2 for key wins over the Splatterlot Krakens, which was on stream. Forest, Inc. 87, and Squidius, making it to the round of 32. That is a heck of a glow up for Marine Melody, but they're not my winner of the tournament, my personal winner. But I did shout them out in the preview on Friday. I said, I don't talk about Marine Melody enough, and I should. When you get a result like that, I have to talk about you. There's no way I can't. Marine Melody making it to the round of 32. Congratulations to them. Citria, who DM'd me to let me know that I misspelled their name, and now they're going to DM me to let me know that I mispronounced it. Went 6-0 in their Swiss group with key wins over OK Woomer, Pixelated, Ink Sync, and June. The first time this team played in low ink as a whole. And man, they really got screwed over. We'll talk about it a little bit in a second, the actual seeding for day 2. But they got screwed over playing Drifting Tide in what could have been a grand final set. But they played fantastic up until they just ran into a tough team then. 6-0 on the Swiss stage for them. Attaboy Cloudfish going 4-2, getting key wins over Forest, Inkception, and Get Punked. Clownfish found their way into Gamma Bracket, which if you pay attention, Gamma Bracket was really difficult to get into. So just because we usually have the stigma about Gamma Bracket, that doesn't apply to this month. Clownfish going 4-2 is really nice. How about in Squidius? Going 4-2, getting some key wins over Splatterlot, Kraken Kings, Bitterling, and the beat the Splatarian World Champions. And Squidius beat the World Champions. And they're still not banned from low ink. That is crazy. That's not fair. They go 4-2. I believe they ended up in Delta Bracket, if not Gamma. Outcast Ninjas went 5-1 in this tournament, getting key wins over Alliance of the Dam. Aurora Borealis, at this time of year, in my low ink. Correct. Surf and Turf, and Ikaru. The Outcast Ninja team was the beta champs last time they played in low ink. They wandered their way into the top 32 this time around, keeping their consistent results. Red Pacific went 6-0, getting some key wins against Ink in the System, Alliance of the Dam, and Shark Reef. I wanted to look up how good Red Pacific did the last time they played in a low ink, and I didn't do that, but using technology given to me by the gods themselves, we can see that they made beta bracket in April. So it's the first time they played since April, went 6-0 in their group. They have clearly been grinding and improving since then, finding their way into top 32. The TR Esports got 4-2 record with key wins over the Black Squid Band. All right. Leviathan, The Cord, and a nice 4-2 result for a team that went 3-3 in August and just barely missed making the top 32 this time around. But still a nice glow up for them nonetheless. The Squid Knights went 5-1 with key wins over Rogue Wave, Kraken Squids, Monsters Inc., and Coconut Kittens. If you are an old head and you've listened to like episodes of the Popcast like 110 episodes ago, I can't believe you're still here watching this. Thank you. Shout outs to Riley. You know who the Squid Knights are. The Squid Knights used to be that team that was notorious for absolutely destroying. They would destroy Saturday. They were the best Swiss Saturday team of all time in low ink. You know the curse? We used to talk about this a lot. The number one seed curse. The number one seed used to historically get bodied in the first round of alpha bracket. That was Squid Night all the time. It was like comical how night and day they were. So unbeatable on Saturday, but like barely could accomplish anything in losers round 1 on Sunday. They're back after taking like a year off and went 5-1 this time around. So it's good to see them back. Black Komodo went 4-2, getting some key wins over the Furious Furry Gang, Origami Dragons, and Acropora. Only losses coming as 1-2 losses to both Drifting Tide and My Opsidus. First time we've seen Black Komodo play in a tournament since they've formed together. We had them on the pre-show. It seems like they're a new team going forward. Not to be confused with the other Komodo team, but this one's just Black Komodo. Doing really good. We expect some good things from them in the future and well. Rogue Wave went 4-2, getting some key wins over the Shrimp Chips, Honey Pot, Raspberry Pie, which was on stream, and the Tacta Rulers. God, you guys make your name so... You got to slow down to spit these things out. Tacta Rulers. The last time we saw Rogue Wave play in a low ink, they went 2-4. This time around, they decided, you know what, let's flip that. Let's go 4-2 instead. Advancing on to day 2, which they didn't do the last time they played in low ink. Neon Palm Tree is a team I have not given enough credit to. They went 5-1 this time around, getting some key wins over the Epic Pickup, Ew Fish, Eternal Frost, and Intimidation Factor, as well as Zeit. They made Alpha Bracket before, but they haven't really done much in Alpha Bracket, but they're starting to become, though, one of those blue blood Alpha/top 32 teams now. 5-1 record, very nicely done for them. Overtime went 4-2 in this tournament, getting some key wins over We Suck, the Seasick Riders, Miners Pickup as well. Overtime went 2-4 last time they played in low ink, which was last month, going nowhere in day 2. This time around, they did qualify for day 2 in a much more difficult tournament to qualify for day 2 for. Nice goal up for Overtime. Waterfront got a 5-1 result with key wins over Counter Style, the Strawberry Short Squids, and the Wiggly Phantoms. Also not your, but my Lag Paradise. Nicely done. This is the first tournament for this new team. We've seen these players play on pickups before, but now they're actually playing on a team, so they're going to build up some synergy. We have some high hopes for Waterfront in the future. They're going to be in that same category with Black Komodo, a new team that we should slot into the alpha bracket slot going forward and see what they improve over the course of time. Hexopolis got a 5-1 result playing in what appeared to be their first low ink, getting some key wins over the Rolling Squids, Intimidation Factor, Sonata, and Overtime. Again, Hexopolis, their first low ink. We'll be taking a look at them when we look at the top 32. My biggest winner from Saturday, and my biggest, that's a good little result right there. I feel good for this team. Shoutouts to the Rolling Squids, who went 4-2 with an opponent win percentage of 66.7 with key wins over the Boston Squids Party Epsilon, who ended up winning Delta Bracket. How does that work out? Enveloping Inc. in Iruka. Number 6 in their group at the end of it. Top 32 result, Rolling Squids. Nicely done. Very nicely done, Rolling Squids. Let's take a look at the Sunday stuff. That is August low ink. We don't need to look at that anymore. Work our way down and come right back up. First off, we're going to take a look at the first ever Delta brackets. And this is just, wow, this just looks like it always does, doesn't it? This looks like what you typically see in a Delta, in a Gamma bracket. But Delta, yeah, what's crazy is some of these teams were 4-2. Like, you could go 4-2 and fall in either Gamma or Delta. To me, that's kind of weird, and there's not really much you can do to fix about that. But Delta and Gamma, if you were to put them up against each other, you'd come to the conclusion it's the same thing. It is pretty much the same thing, isn't it? The teams I want to talk about here, Buff E-Leader had a nice little result, making a nice run all the way through losers bracket. Forest 2-0, Coconut Kittens 2-1, Tactic Rulers, Rogue Wave. Buff E-Leader is a crazy name. That thing does not need a buff right now. There are some things that need buffs and nerfs. The last thing that needs to be, one of the last things that needs to be buffed is E-Leader. That is insane. But still getting number 4 in Delta bracket. Giving them a little bit of a shout out. Despair. Such an edgy name. They beat Buff E-Leader, taking Epsilon to a game 5. The team ended up winning this whole tournament. Then went on a little run here. Squid Peak, get out. Black Squid Boys, goodbye. Then ran into the monster of Oofish. Overtime is the other team we want to give a shout out here. Exception, Coconut Kittens, making all the way to winners finals that we typically see. I bet this is rough looking at for you alpha and beta teams. Well, why do they get the double win? Well, because they went 4-2. Go 4-2 and you can get this format, I guess. Overtime going all the way, taking Ufish to a game 5. Again, 2-4, didn't make a tournament last time. Top 3 in a very stacked Delta bracket. That's a very nice call up for overtime. For Ufish, they made 5th place in Gamma. And keep in mind, Gamma bracket, we used to let 4 teams that went 2-4 into Gamma bracket. Like, if enough teams signed up or not enough teams signed up and we did a Gamma bracket, you could just win 2 games and qualify for Sunday. That isn't right. It shouldn't be that. You shouldn't be qualifying for day 2 when you only got 2 wins. Here, I think only one team went 3-3 and found their way in. Everybody else was like 4-2. Like, you had to earn your spot here. So even though Ufish got 5th place in Gamma, and you think, oh well, they fell down to Gamma, that's a fall. That's a glow down. No, it's a glow up. Finishing 2nd place in this Delta is very difficult. The team that beat them, however, is Epsilon. Now, who is Epsilon, and why can... Now, if there was a bracket below this, it would be an Epsilon bracket, so it's kind of weird that a team called Epsilon won Delta bracket. But who is Epsilon, you are asking? They are a team that played in August and went 1-5. Did I look that up correctly? That seems so weird to go from 1-5 to winning a bracket like this. Pretty impressive for Epsilon. What does it mean when you win Delta bracket? What does that mean for next month? I have no idea. But when you go 1-5 to winning a bracket like this, oh, that'll turn some heads. We'll keep an eye on Epsilon going forward. Gamma bracket. The things we want to talk about with Gamma bracket here. You had so many teams that I probably could have put on my top 10 and did put on my top 10 representing this bracket right here. I mean, this... If I told you this was Gamma bracket, you would be like, what the hell does Beta and Alpha look like if this is the team that's here in Gamma? Yeah, this is a rough tournament. You got to change your notion. Some people were probably sitting here thinking, man, I made Gamma bracket. That's for the babies. And then you look who's playing in this Gamma bracket. You're like, oh, this is not your grandpa's Gamma bracket here. You got Aduntes going all the way to... the third place match, I guess, losers finals here, losing to Intimidation Factor. This is a team that's traditionally made Alpha bracket. I put them in my top 10, I believe, last month. Not having the result they wanted on Saturday, but bounced back and proved it a little bit here, going to 3rd place. KO Calamari, who does have some beta bracket experience before, they find their way beating Elegant Ruby before going on a run themselves. Get out of here, Jupiter. Skill issue. It's a bit of a skill issue for you. I'll give you a shout out. Congratulations, skill issue, for beating My Lag Paradise. Now, don't at me. Stop it. And they beat Iruka before losing to Audantes down here in this match. So nicely done for KO Calamari. Leviathan, which I believe, I had to look up who these guys were afterwards, but I believe this is the team that Dyna subbed for, or got placed onto. After losing in the round 1, went on a run themselves. Non-binary Fuzz. Acropora, Polyamorous Gamership is the name of that team. Making a run here as Adante's just breaking hearts left and right, but still a nice run for Leviathan in a very tough gamer bracket. Now, if you're an Intimidation Factor, and I saw them tweet out, maybe one, maybe two players tweet out, like, man, I did not play well. I don't feel happy with my results. You know what you do when you don't feel happy with your results on Saturday? You rip people apart on Sunday, and you prove that you don't belong. Intimidation Factor did that. 2-0 round 1, 3-0 KO Calamari, beating Adantes, and just running into a monster in Mystical Inc. But taking care of business everywhere else across the board. We see you, Intimidation Factor. I think this justifies... now, is it the result they wanted? Anything short of 5th place where they got in Alpha bracket last time is obviously going to be a letdown. But I think they bounced back from whatever they felt negative about at the end of Sunday with what they did here. At the end of Saturday with what they did here. Who is Mystical Inc., though? Mystical Inc. last played in May, and they made beta bracket. And I was confused. I was like, I forgot about Mystical Inc. What did they do in that beta bracket? I looked at the beta bracket in May. They lost in losers round 1. They did not do good in beta bracket at all. But they dominated this one. A very rare number 1 seed actually winning their bracket. Mylag Paradise, Acropora, Iurka, Intimidation Factor. They played their own little mini alpha bracket run up top here and didn't lose to anybody. Took to a game 5 a couple of times, survived it. Mystical Inc., nicely done. Much better than their beta bracket result from May. It's good to see them back after 5 months as well. All right, let's peek at top 32. Let's get it out of the way here. Now, first off, let's talk about seeding, because some people were confused about the seeding, and they're like, how come everybody in my group was good? Why didn't I get, what? Okay, the seeding actually was perfect by design. So, all the ones got put in, so it's based off of what group it's based off of what your final result was in the group, in the Swiss group. So all the number 1s got split up to face the number 4 from a different group. No, the 1s played an 8 from a different group, and in that same group, a 4 versus a 5. So all the seeds basically added up to a certain number. So everything was based off of your placement, both into the top 32 and into alpha or beta. So there's no I think this team's the number 1 after that. No, it's, this team finished at number 1 of their group on Saturday. They get this certain spot predetermined for them on Sunday. And some people consider and say some groups are more stacked than others. Yes, that probably. I mean, I can look here and see some of these groups and be like, oh, some of these groups are a little bit more stacked than others. However, guess what? If you want to win a low ink, you got to beat these teams anyways. And that's what we're trying to do on Sunday. We're trying to figure out who can win the tournament on Sunday. And if you can't beat these teams, what are you upset about? That's on you. that's on you. The most notable result, the most eyebrow raising thing here was this round 1 match. And this was the first match to wrap up on Sunday at the beginning of the tournament. Where is it? I'm at round 1, right? There it is. Rolling Squids beat Ink in the System 2-0, and they beat them in 8 minutes. They flat out destroyed Ink in the System in 8 minutes. I think Ink in the System had a sub that they had to pull out of somewhere on Sunday. So, but still, a result like this is a result. That was a whoa. Rolling Squids are for real. They had 3 subs. Did they get 3 subs from our actual sub channel, or they just had pre-built roster? You can't get 3 subs from the sub channel. You can only get 2. Okay, I was about to say, you can't just rebuild your team in the sub channel after that. But yeah, that was the whoa. This was my biggest wow. That Rolling Squids destroyed them there. But yeah, it makes sense. They had a little bit of subs, but still, that's a great result for Rolling Squids nonetheless. There was one weird tiebreaker. Well, not a weird tiebreaker, but there is always the possibility for 3 teams going 2-1 or 3 teams going 1-2, which is what happened right here. Now, we do go with Battlefy's tiebreaker for this. in the group stage because we feel like the tiebreakers is fair. There's a reason why you're doing best of 3 instead of play all 3. We came to the determination that best of 3 does a better job at breaking tiebreakers than play all 3, because if you're a team that goes 2-0, playing that third game doesn't help you at all. You only have more to lose by playing that third game. So what is the tiebreaker here? I'm not going to pull it up. We did post it in help desk in case anyone is curious. But the tiebreaker basically came down to Spectra and TR Esports had the same number of wins, like actual wins. Like they lost the Lappy sweep, but they went 2-1, so they picked up an extra win versus getting 0-2'd. So that's why Waterfront's down here at the bottom. And why Spectra over TR Esports? Head-to-head, Spectra beat TR Esports. Super easy to explain. Makes sense. There's nobody that can really argue that TR or Waterfront should be over Spectra because the tiebreakers worked out perfectly. There is a system, though, in Battlefy. We found out that if it meets every single tiebreaker criteria, like it's all 100% tied across the board, it will be flagged by Battlefy and it will tell you play a best of 1 match. I don't think that's ever happened because there's so many different tiebreakers. And it's so hard to not hit all of those tiebreaker scenarios or something. I'll have to check. I don't think it's happened in SOS before, but it still technically can happen. But it didn't happen here. It didn't get past the second tiebreaker with this. You would think it would, but I've learned more about Battlefy group tiebreakers than I care to learn about from this tournament. Looking at beta brackets. This is kind of the result you would expect to see out of here anyways. OK Wimmer beating Surf and Turf. The one thing I will say, we screwed up this third place match. They probably should have just been best of 5 instead of best of 7. But it still worked out anyways. I don't think this changed result. It's just you shouldn't be playing a best of 7 in a third place match. Just standard best of 3. No sense to drag it out. Even though, there is pride in getting third place in a bracket like this. I don't think there's anything else I want to say here about this bracket, to be honest with you. Another thing, and this is another screw up on my part personally. So when you get to best of 7, counter picks have to change. You can't do a map and mode gets banned every time it's 1 kind of thing, because eventually you're just going to get to game 4, or eventually you'll get to a game 5, and it's the only thing I can counter pick for the next 3 games is Clan Blitz, and there's only 2 maps I can pick, and they both favor the other team. So there's a way to box yourself in a corner. And we didn't tell these 2 teams that new rule, and I don't know if we have it posted anywhere. So OK Wimmer, Surf and Turf, Yippee and Outcast Ninjas, my bad. I hope, but it doesn't look like they got to the point to where that tiebreaker affected things much. But we'll make that adjustment for sure. And in case you're wondering who Yippee is, it's a pickup that has Ambird on it. Remember that drawing of me eating a $17 turkey leg at the state fair? Ambird did that, and they got third place in beta bracket. Alpha bracket real quickly. Again, this match that we had on stream, Drifting Tide versus Cytria. This is still the same kind of thing. All the teams that finished at the top of their group got placed up top here. All the teams that finished second place in their group got placed at the bottom. And we set up the bracket in a specific way. To give you guys even more detail about this, we set up the seeds into a specific way to where you would avoid teams that you mostly played until deep into the tournament. So the number 2 seed for Cherry Dolphins bracket, I believe, was Alliance in the Dam, and they're all the way down here at the bottom. That's the same thing. So you're playing new teams every time is how it's specifically designed. But it does create scenarios like this where Drifting Tide has to play this team in what could have been the grand finals match, in all honesty, had the bracket been shifted out a little bit differently. But that's just Drifting Tide. Drifting Tide took an L, almost fell down to beta, and their punishment for that is playing a tough team like this. That's just how it rolls. There's no other way we can break around that. You got to beat them at some point. We feel like best of 5 with counter picks is about as fair as you can get in a single elimination scenario. Drifting Tide avoided the bracket almost the reverse sweep and got a win there. That's a great set. It just might get forgotten because it was round one, but that was still a really good set. We did decide to stream both semifinal matches, and the reason for that is when we go into grand finals, you get a sense of who both teams are already. Otherwise, we would have just gone into grand finals, and you have never seen Cherry Dolphins up to that point. You don't know what they're about. You don't know what the storyline is. Streaming both of these matches built up a storyline, and this bracket still ended at the same time as Delta and Gamma, and those two brackets didn't have a bracket reset, so it could have been a little bit better, or a little bit more... it could have lasted, like the Delta and Gamma could have lasted longer than this. There's still some quality of life things that I've already decided, like how to seed out of groups into this quicker. I already developed the system. That'll save us like 5 minutes. And there's some other things here and there that'll help speed this all along while still keeping it fair. But yeah, I've already talked about it. Linked, Cherry Dolphins, and Ink Sync. Alliance of the Dam, they stepped up. They sure up stepped up. I put them in my top 10, as well as Lappy Sweep. But Alliance of the Dam, losers round 1, losers round 2, all the way to third place out of 170 teams. It's quite a glow up for them. And it was earned. It was justified. They played well on Sunday. They had a tough schedule on Saturday. And third place in a tournament like this is fan-frickin-tastic. Lappy Sweep, though, it just makes you think, how good would Lappy Sweep have been if we let Lappy play? Lappy's just played in a lot of pickups and has just gotten so many great results where it's like, okay, we can't do this. But if we did let that player in, Lappy Sweep might have won this whole tournament. Honestly, I mean that team looked really solid without him. For the Cherry Dolphins, they get to join their teams, their teammates. And ride off into the sunset. I don't know what's in the future for the Cherry Dolphins. I do know that their name was supposed to be the Cherry Dolphins. They just misspelled Dolphins. And I believe it's named after the candy, the chewy candy that comes along with that. We didn't really get to see the full Cherry Dolphins team. Again, they have one of their players that's DSB Div 1 that couldn't play with them in this tournament. So I don't know what that team's going to be like going forward. I do know we need more EU-specific tournaments. Maybe when that comes around, we'll see more out of them at that time. For Ink Sync, though, don't put them at number 1 in your next couple of low inks. I'm not saying they're not going to be the number 1 team. I'm not saying they're not going to win next month. But there's still some monsters hidden out there. Some monsters that played through this low ink that didn't win it. Sia has already announced they're coming back. I don't know what roster they're going to be able to have into this tournament, but they've already announced they're coming back. And Popsicles didn't play as well. Popsicles would have been pretty close to my top 5. But you give them another month, maybe if they are available to play in this next upcoming low week. Those are 2 teams right off the bat that are going to challenge Ink Sync. So it's not going to be a clear cut, you finished number 2, that means you're number 1 next month. No, there's a lot of monsters that could be potentially coming back, which will make for yet another exciting low ink. Waterfront had a bad day too, sadly. That's just how this is how it rolls sometimes, unfortunate. But you guys will be back next month, I hope. Mystical Inc., they are a Chilean-based team, and I believe Latin-based in general. I used to coach them a really long time ago. Hey, Geek Squid's played in this tournament as well. And it's good to see you be involved, Bowen, with all of those teams, helping them get into low ink. And that is all the highlighted messages, so we're done. Yeesh. I finally put this low ink to bed. This low ink is done. There's nothing else to say about it. I'm sure you guys still have suggestions you want to give. Congratulations. Well, I'm moving on to Proving Grounds. If you'd like to be a part of the podcast in any way, feel free to reach out on my socials below. Twitter, Mr._Popgun. Discord, Popgun, #5882. YouTube at 25Popgun. Twitch at Popgun25. Anchor.fm/Popgun. TikTok at Mr._Popgun. I just said Popgun a lot right there. Let's raid. We did Undershirt Man last time. I have no idea who this person is. Let's raid them anyways. Let's see what happens. Get vaccinated. Stay safe. Keep playing in tournaments. Keep watching tournaments that you find appealing. SAC this weekend. LSL as well. Splat a little on Sunday. We'll see you guys on Monday. Maybe we'll talk about college stuff. Unless we don't.